I played Pac-Man Museum Plus, a compilation of classic Pac-Man games, past, present, well, I guess that's it, it's not going to include future games, but still, I've always been a fan of Pac-Man, and there's not really a better compilation, in my opinion, that at least I've seen when it comes to Pac-Man. The game comes with Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Pac-N-Pal, Pac-Land, Pac-Mania, Pac-Attack, Pac-in-Time, Pac-Man arrangements, both the arcade and PSP versions, Pac-Man Championship Edition, Pac-Motos, Pac-and-Roll Remix, Pac-Man Battle Royale, and Pac-Man 256. And yeah, like, right out of the gate, if you like Pac-Man, get this game. The only notable absence is Ms. Pac-Man due to all the craziness about the rights with that game, but otherwise, it's an incredible collection of games. But if I'm going to talk about a compilation, I might as well talk about my thoughts with each of the games available in this collection, so let's not waste any time. The original Pac-Man is still an absolute blast to play. Sure, it only has one maze, that being the iconic one, but it scratches a particular itch. Doing the same thing over and over again with increasing difficulty just hits right with the original Pac-Man. Sure, it's only something I'll play in short bursts rather than dedicating a huge amount of time with it, but it's never really gotten that old with me. Super Pac-Man is similarly quite fun. In this one, it's less about maze memorization and more about grabbing all the keys to free up space and grabbing these giant dots. The only thing that I really didn't quite get on with is the fact that different gates unlocked in different ways each as you progress, so it was kind of hard to get a real gist down. Your best bet is either to just grab all the keys at once and then worry about everything else, or just try to clear up as much space as possible with the giant dots, which was my main strategy. Pac-N-Pal, in my opinion, was one of my least favourite games of the bunch. It's basically a worse version of Super Pac-Man, where there's this additional enemy that doesn't hurt you, but will just steal the stuff that you're using to complete the level. Which, okay, I don't care. Oh no, I won't get the high score. Oh, goodness gracious me. It's not the 1980s anymore. I do not care about getting the high score. If anything, you're just making it easier for me to move on to the next level. And, well, if I'm just looking to get a move on with it, then safe to say I wasn't having a bunch of fun with it. Pac-Land is a side-scrolling platformer, and I'm always of two minds of this. I don't think Pac-Land is the greatest game ever, but I do have a soft spot for it. There are definitely far better options out there, but I don't know, there's just a little bit of charm to this game. And I do love the main music on the first stage. Pac-Mania is up with Pac-Man as one of my favourites. I always go in feeling like the mazes are going to be too big, but between the additional ghosts, going with 6 instead of 4, and the jumping, it actually adds a new layer of depth. Because now it's not just a case of, strategization and trying to outplay the ghosts. Now you can duck and weave around them, which I think is really fun. Sure, sometimes it feels like you're cheesing it, but I absolutely love being able to just bob and weave around the ghosts. It just adds a whole new layer that makes Pac-Mania just a ton of fun to me. Pac-Attack is a puzzle game that I've gotten more and more used to over time. I used to just generally dislike this game, but I feel like I'm getting the hang of it more and more as time goes on. There's 2 layers to it. There are the blocks, which if you complete a row, will just delete that row, kind of like a very basic Tetris. And then there's the ghosts, which if you line them up correctly when you get a Pac-Man piece, Pac-Man will take out as many of those ghosts as he can, and you get more points that way. It's a bit of a balancing act, because if a ghost gets in the way of the blocks, then you can't complete a row. But if the blocks get in the way, then Pac-Man can't get at some ghosts, and it's a difficult juggling act, but if you can get it right, it can be a lot of fun. I did not like Pac-in-Time at all. I don't think I get it. I'm going to be quite frank. Maybe if I watched a playthrough, it would all suddenly click into place, but this one was one of my least favourites experiences. Pac-Man arrangements, both the arcade and PSP versions, are a ton of fun. I think my heart goes out a little bit more to the PSP version. I don't know, the casual experience of it, even if it is very easy, was just an absolute blast to play through, but the arcade version is no slouch either. Both again are some of my favourites in the collection. Pac-Man Championship Edition similarly is another rocket-fueled blast. I love being able to race around as Pac-Man, going as quickly as possible, trying to dodge all of the ghosts, and it was a definite refreshing take on the classic formula. Pac-Motos is, in my opinion, just way too simplistic for me to really get into. You have to knock all of the enemies off of the ledge, and I'm just not that into it. It's far too basic, even by Pac-Man standards, and to me, some of those levels just don't really reward skill so much as just bulking Pac-Man to the nth degree. Pac-and-Roll Remix, meanwhile, I do think is a little bit of fun. It's not the best, but I do like just racing through levels and trying to get as many dots as possible. Basically, you just get from point A to point B, but there'll be little gates that require a certain amount of Pac dots in order to progress. It's extremely simplistic, but I did have a little bit of fun racing around in this one. Just blasting through levels can be, well, fun. Pac-Man Battle Royale is a game that I actually did play in the arcades, and it's admittedly a game that desperately needs you to have some friends to play with. Sure, you can play it on your own, but it really does lack teeth. Basically, you and up to 3 other friends can play a game of Pac-Man, only the goal is to be the last one surviving. If you eat one of the giant power pellets, you'll end up becoming giant and you can eat the other Pac-Men. And of course, there are ghosts to avoid. If you end up being the last one surviving, you'll get a point. With there being up to 5 rounds to figure out who will be the last one surviving. Again, it's a rather simple experience, but definitely one that could be fun with other friends. If you're by yourself, then it's really nothing to write home about. And then finally is Pac-Man 256, made by the developers of Crossy Road. This is an endless mobile style game which you just go as far as you can, basically. It's fine. I don't have a lot to say about Pac-Man 256 because I never really spent a lot of time on it. Overall, though, like I said, this is absolutely a blast to play. Regardless of if you agree with me on some of these, whether you disagree with me and think that I'm not giving games like Pac-in-Time the credit they deserve, or if I'm just missing out on the complexities of something like Pac-Motos, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, this game is full of a lot of different Pac-Man experiences that, unless you're looking for something like, say, Pac-Man World, then you're likely to find something on this that you're going to have a blast playing. In fact, whilst I was getting footage for this, I ended up sinking way more time to the PSP version of Pac-Man Arrangement than I should have done and just beat the game again. Whilst they could eventually one day make an even better Pac-Man compilation, this so far is the best that we've gotten. If they ever find a way to add Ms. Pac-Man like they did with the original Pac-Man Museum, I think that'll make the bundle all the sweeter. And yeah, if you're a Pac-Man fan, absolutely check it out, though I'm gonna guess you probably have this game already.